Okay, so what I want to do now is go to Jennifer and Ranajay, and we will talk about what they're doing in their environments. Okay, Jennifer and Ranajay, thank you both for joining.
Thank you.
Why don't I let you both introduce yourselves and your roles and responsibilities? Jennifer, why don't you go first?
Sure. I'm Jennifer Ochberger. I'm the Director of Data Engineering here at Quote Wizard, which is a division of LendingTree. I've been in this position for about a year and a half now.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Jennifer, do you want to talk briefly about your background?
Sure. I've been a data practitioner for over 20 years. I've done the role of the data engineer building the data pipelines. I've been a data architect, actually started here at this company as data architect and then moved into the director of data engineering position to sort of better align all of our teams and get things going better. So I've had a lot of experience with data pipelines.
Okay, very good. And Jennifer is also a two-time colleague or coworker of Jay Piscineri, who is another analyst with our team. So Jennifer, thank you for joining.
Of course.
Ranajay, perhaps you can introduce yourself and your role with Citizen Watch Group.
Sure. Everybody, this is Ranajay. I'm the VP of Analytics for Citizen Watch Group. So my role, and I'm in this role for the last 2 years, and I've been tasked to kind of build the analytics practice here. So I kind of work across pillars of data engineering, analytics, and adoption. So all three are very important for me. I have been, for 20 years, I've been working along with data. Initially was like real data engineer, primitive data engineer, where everything needs to be written in code. From that, I've kind of transformed myself to more of analytics and data science area. But I think that data pipelining and the, clean data is the essence of everything, the success. So.
Agree. So very good. So I want to learn a little bit more about both your team's objectives and the role that data pipelines play in that. And Ranajay, perhaps I'll start with you, given your statement, which I agree with, that data pipelines are a critical underpinning to everything. But if you start with sort of the business objectives for Citizen Watch Group, your team's objectives, and then from that, the pipelines that support it, maybe you could talk about how all those elements interplay.
Sure. And I was listening to your keynote, and one thing that you talked as best practice at the end is we need to define our goals by business objectives. I mean, the business goals or the targets. And I think I'm a big supporter and practitioner of that. So I put myself as a target to achieve business goals, not analytics goals in general. So we have my goal is to get data insights into the business process. So to do that, we have a lot of analytics tools today. We have the dashboards, we have the ML solutions, we have like pure diagnostic analysts as well. And what all of them need is a single source of clean data which can be built with a lot of speed and agility, so that we do not need to wait for a whole infrastructure to be built before delivering any value to the business. So right now, my team, the way we started doing it is we went to get the business priorities, started building the analytics solution and the pipeline kind of in parallel. As soon as some pipeline is being built, we start generating value out from there and place it in front of business. So with that agile mindset and with that agile process being placed together, I think we get some better success rather than waiting for the whole infrastructure to be built for the last couple of years or something like that. So that is how data pipeline is that important. And also one more thing I kind of do in my team is when we are talking about people who are building analytics solutions, people who are driving business adoptions, they need to trust the data, and the ownership completely belongs to the team of data engineers who are building these data pipelines. I do not want my analysts to go back and validate every data that have been generated from there. So the ownership remains with the data engineers, and that is very important for my team to have success.
Okay, excellent. And so, Jennifer, I'll put the same question to you, and I'd love to hear it in terms of building on Ranajay's comment about ownership of data delivery, I'd also love to hear, I understand that LendingTree is now all cloud, but started with some on-prem systems. So maybe you could talk about that evolution as well.
Yeah, so, well, our team's objectives, we really are focused on getting near real-time data for analytics and operational reports, which is kind of tricky. You don't usually want to stand between real-time and operational because any delay means lack of trust in the data. Exactly what Ranajay is talking about. That's so critical. So our team, it is all cloud. We're very fortunate. Our migration was it happened before I got here, so we were already all cloud by the time I got here. But what the migration looked like was essentially a lift and shift, right? We took all of the on-premise things and we put them into virtual machines in the cloud. And then from there, we migrated from the virtual machines into SaaS as much as we could. So we still have a couple of VMs hanging out there that we're looking to retire. But for the most part, everything is a SaaS offering. And that does add some interesting complexities that you were alluding to. But as far as you were saying, like data engineers, they really do have a huge role because not only are we taking care of the operational and the analytical reporting and making sure that data gets in place, we're also helping to re-architect and modernize that data stack that moved into the cloud that's sitting on a relational database engine. We're definitely working to improve that infrastructure. So we're helping on the operational side, the transactional side as well. So there's a huge demand and there's a real need for the team to not just do the work, but to help others do the work as well. So we're leveraging a lot of software engineers to get data loaded into Snowflake, for example, by using Snowpipes and having them event their data directly in. So it's definitely a partnership now. And then data engineering is there to sort of make sense of the data once it lands, if that makes sense.
Okay. And so you've got a need for real-time data, delay erodes trust. You've got a need for collaboration across software developers, data engineers, and other stakeholders. How does that affect your tool selection? Data pipeline tools that you're using, how did you go about selecting those?
So our data pipeline tools, our biggest impetus is low or no code. We need rapid delivery. Our business changes and evolves so quickly that we have to be able to turn on a dime. Right? We might have an initiative and then the next day someone comes in and says, stop all the presses, we're going to do this new thing. So we have to shift where we're focused. And having tools, we actually use Fivetran for getting data from our operational databases into Snowflake for the databases that aren't modernized and using Snowpipes. And then once it's in Snowflake, we're using dbt to do our transformations. And that's a sort of a low code environment that it does all of the merge syntax where you have to insert or update or figure out what the active record is. dbt does that automatically. So you're defining your source query and then it's building all of the mechanics behind the scenes to make it persist into a table, which is lovely. So we're finding those rapid productivity tools are incredibly needed in this arena to support us.
So you've got a need to change sources, change targets, change transformation jobs quickly and empower people to do that quickly. And so those are some of the key criteria. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Ranajay, how about you on your end? In terms of the tools you selected and why you selected them?
Very similar to what Jennifer mentioned. But
Okay.
we use Rivery, but we use Snowflake to pull the data from operational systems into analytics. And of course, my team is focused on analytics. We do very few things with operational in general. But I think we are also getting data from our apps, from the websites as well, and from other different sources. I think as you mentioned, Jennifer, I think that low or no code is the 100% needed. And particularly, I have a smaller engineering team which really cannot pull all the requirements. With a low or no code kind of tool, it really do a very speedy and agile kind of development. I think that is definitely needed. At the same time, a lot of these tools nowadays come with out of box kits, which is connect to very common connections and get kind of prepare the pipeline for you. And I think that is amazing. That really help us to drive some of our initiatives really fast. So we are using that typically with Rivery and Snowflake as a connector, but we have a lot of different sources from Zendesk to our CDP platform to our on-premise SQL Server, operational systems as well. So we have a bunch of connections there.
Excellent. Okay. So what I'll let you choose who goes first on this one. What's your biggest challenge looking at the balance of this year and next year in terms of helping your teams meet their data engineering objectives?
You can start, Jennifer.
Everyone's being polite. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Our biggest need is really to solve that getting closer to real time. I think we may be focused more on as our sources are moving more unstructured and we're having more unstructured data sources, we're going to lean a little heavier into reporting tools that are going to support unstructured data so that we can have those operational reports from the live system. With the modernization effort that we're doing right now, that makes it possible to have this kind of reporting versus before it would interfere too much with production processes, so we couldn't have that live operational reporting. I think that's going to be like a pressure relief valve for some of the data engineers so that if systems do pause or like take an extra half hour, we don't have everyone from the business calling us up and saying, are we dead in the water or is reporting behind? We don't want to answer that question anymore. So that's really our biggest need, is to get that real-time ship shape.
Okay, Ranajay.
So for us this year, the focus is more on advancing our analytics journey. So we are doing a little bit of ML solutions right now with a lot more focus on descriptive and diagnostic analytics. And this year we are focusing more towards predictive and prescriptive. So that kind of comes up with a very different kind of challenge with
Yes.
data pipelining and engineering as well. You need data more real time for sure. You need data from very different sources, which is completely unstructured, sometimes trusted as well as very well structured. So that becomes a challenge as well. And at the same time, what we want to do is to so we have currently a pipeline built into our BI dashboards. We wanted to do that more efficiently. I think there is a lot of inefficiency in that process still, so that we are having a very high computation, cost for some reason. There are some areas where we did customization, which is not really efficient, I think, and that where the cost is really high. So we need to make sure that we to minimize the cost and just balance the storage and computation area. And that I think is heavily dependent on the data pipelining team and the data engineering team as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're doing related research on FinOps, this discipline and the creation of FinOps programs that can help govern cloud-related costs. That cloud compute can create a lot of pain at the end of the month, and it sounds like that's something that you're starting to look at as kind of a core principle of data engineering.
True. Yes, very much.
Very good. Well, Jennifer and Ranajay, I really appreciate you joining. This was helpful. We find our community really enjoys learning from their peers and their best practices. So sharing your expertise has been very helpful for us. So great stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.